Hello, I'm Justin in Japan on a bike. I'm doing an update on my GSX-S 1000F. I've done nearly 500 kilometers, so I thought I'd give a little bit more opinion on the bike. Firstly, I gave some negative points last time, so I thought I'd just recap some of the positive points that I've also said, which, for example, the handling I thought was very good on this bike. Now I'm still running the bike in, so I'm still keeping the revs below 5,000. I have to say it's a couple of times just gone a little bit above 5,000, just by mistake, honest. I haven't rehearsed this is off the cuff. Getting a bit grubby down there, collecting a lot of dirt. As I said before, I don't know what the exhaust pipe, I don't know the details, if it's somebody's made it for Suzuki, because I doubt they make their own. It's a noisy one. And sounds nice. It isn't loud, but it's loud enough to be pleasant, and the engine does have a nice sound, and there is a nice exhaust note. So what was I going to tell you? Well, first thing that's quite interesting is these bars, the handlebars. It's one long bar. It's not clip-ons on this bike, and if you look closely there, you should be able to see the make and made in England, which is interesting. Don't know the story behind that, and I don't know this company that makes handlebars. So if it's a famous company, I apologize if you're I assume it is some famous brand name in motorbike handlebars, but I'm not familiar with it. I don't claim to be an expert, by the way. I'm just giving my opinion. On this one, the headlight here is the switch gear. You push it out to put the main beam on, and you pull it back to put the dip beam back on. And if you pull it towards you, it flashes. It flashes the light. They call it pass on there. So as I mentioned, the screen I find quite small on this. Now I know that it probably isn't even that small for a sports bike, but for me, it coming from the previous two bikes, the one that I've still got being a Yamaha Diversion, which I've talked about. You can have a look back at videos and a podcast on that. So I've been right, and the bike before that I had was I also had a BMW R1150 RT, which is a full-on touring bike. And so the Yamaha Diversion 900 and the BMW both had very high screens and more upright positions. So by comparison, this is the whole bike's just lower. Your riding position is not full-on sports, as I've said before, because if you look, the handlebars are higher than a sports bike. So I think on a full-on sports bike, you'd have the handlebars down here. So if I come around here, the handlebars would be, right down here. Now, interestingly, the handlebars are not, although your seating position is more upright, it is not fully upright, like say a street bike or a tourer or something like that, or an adventure bike. I did consider at one point the V-Strom because of the more upright, comfortable riding position, especially for prolonged periods of riding, such as if I went touring. Now the touring thing is not really going to be something I'll be doing a lot of. The handlebars, I do feel a little bit of weight, so I am slightly forward in my position, and there is a little bit of weight on the wrists. So if you are considering a bike that has, if you are thinking about a bike and you are considering your wrists and the weight on your wrists, then yeah, although it's not fully sports in position, you will find that your wrists do take some weight. I do wonder if I went on a long journey on, say, if I went touring or on a very long journey, I wonder would that be an issue? I shall find out, won't I? As I said, I didn't buy this bike primarily for going on long journeys. I think you would go for something like the V-Strom if you were thinking about that. So what else can I tell you? Well, I've finally figured out, and I figured it out for myself, how to lock your helmet. So there is a helmet. There are two helmet locks, and the helmet locks are on the underside of the pillion seat. So you've got the key under here. By the way, this is I don't know, this plastic. It feels a bit cheap, and I suppose, as I said before, the bike is a little bit of a budget bike, a budget sports bike, that is. Perhaps, I don't know. I mean, is this cheap plastic standard these days? I don't know. I really don't know enough about these things, but anyway, you can lock two helmets. You can lock two helmets here. There is a lug there. You can put the like part of your helmet strap buckle or something there and there. So yeah, you can definitely lock two helmets onto the bike under the pillion seat. So I figured that out for myself, and I should probably look at the manual, but being a typical bloke, I can't be bothered. I just thought I'd figure it all out. And this part here, bearing in mind I haven't used the bike much, this part here, which slots into this part here, as you can see, is a bit fiddly, and it's starting to scratch already. So that's a bit disappointing, getting scratched, because as I said, it is a bit fiddly getting it back on. So this part here slides under this part here, and it's basically this part which seems to be fiddly, and you have to give it, there you go, gave it a bit of a punch there. I know it's not a serious issue, but it is a bit fiddly, to be honest, and I don't know, I thought they could do better than that. But I'm saying, being negative, I've got lots of positive things to say about it. I said before that below 3,000 revs, certainly at lower speeds, below 3,000 revs, I find the bike, although it's not a big issue, I do feel that the fuel delivery is slightly rough, a little bit, very slightly. But nothing that would make me want to take the bike back and complain, I suppose. Because I guess that's just how it is. I think she's really quite mild-mannered, below 5,000 RPM certainly. I don't know where the power really kicks in, because I'm still running the bike in and I really have no idea. But I will say that if you just want to leisurely ride and take in the scenery, enjoy the view, then I think the bike is very nice. Just pottering along sort of around 3,000, certainly below 4,000, but around 3,000 RPM. You feel that you could ride all day long at around 3,000 RPM around the countryside, just taking in the view. It's very, very pleasant indeed, especially if you sit more upright, as I said and before, not put any weight on your wrists. I think I will look. I did go into a shop the other day asking about a larger screen, a taller screen, and that's like the major, certainly in this area, that's the major motorbike parts and accessory shop. Bearing in mind, as I said before, there are no Suzuki dealers, so I can't ask a Suzuki dealer. And I went into this shop because I saw on Instagram a guy had got a taller screen, and when I inquired, they couldn't find it. They spent a long time looking, to be fair to them. They did look through, they got catalogues out, and the guy was looking on the internet, and they weren't able to find anything at all, which I find very strange indeed. So I need to look more into that myself. I'm still umming and ahhing about it. If I am just going to do like you know, just day trips around the mountains, I don't think, certainly a taller screen would not be necessary. I'm just thinking if I go on any long trips, and it looks like, as I said before, it's got these hexagon bolts there, so it looks like it's a very simple thing to change the screen over. So certainly if you're worried about the looks of your bike, then yeah, you would not change the screen, because I think a taller screen will look odd. Certainly the guy whose Instagram photos I saw, it didn't look particularly nice, but it's about practicality, especially if you're on longer journeys. Right, that sound you can hear in the background is 5 p.m, I believe. So I haven't taken a pillion yet. I don't know what it's like to have a pillion on this bike. The suspension I haven't adjusted, it's still on factory settings. I haven't felt the need to adjust it. I find the suspension absolutely right for me. It certainly soaks up all the bumps and handles very well. Of course, if I ever did take a pillion, I would probably need to adjust the suspension. So I need to look into how to do that, because I don't, well, I know where it is, I've seen it under here somewhere, but I don't know anything about the suspension settings at this point. So I'm going to have to look at the manual and find out how to adjust the suspension if necessary. And there it is in there. Can you see that? Yeah, it's in there, look, the monoshock, and also the front suspension as well. You can see, you should be able to see if I can focus on that. Sorry, it's not focusing very well, is it? Yeah, there we are, on the front shocks there and there. So I'm gonna have to get the manual and have a look at that. Now I don't know where, I mean, I say the bike is perfectly fine as it is on those suspension settings, but perhaps I should experiment and find out if I can get it even better. You know, once I pass the running in period, if I do start to try to ride the bike more sportily, maybe I should consider adjusting the suspension settings. So yeah, there we are. Well, this has been Just in Japan on a bike. This is my Suzuki GSX-S 1000F. I shall make some more content soon and update you on the bike. Thanks.